So here we are with my very first official movie review of the new year after seeing my first new film of 2020, and that is Just Mercy, a movie I've heard some good things about, heard that it may have some Oscar-worthy performances. Well, in this review, I'm going to let you all know if that is true and if this film is worth checking out. We're going to talk about all that and much more. Just Mercy was directed by Destin Cretton and stars Michael B. Jordan, Jamie Foxx, Rob Morgan, Tim Blake Nelson, and Brie Larson. Attorney Bryan Stevenson takes the case of Walter McMillan, an African-American man wrongfully imprisoned for the 1986 murder of a white woman in Alabama and sentenced to death. What's going on, everybody? Elliot here from Movie Files, here with my first official movie review of the new year, and I'm very excited to share my thoughts with you all on the new film, Just Mercy, a film that's gotten a lot of praise so far from the performances, and I'm going to let you know if those performances were any good. But before we dive into it, definitely consider subscribing to my channel for those that are new. Hit that bell so you can stay up to date with all my movie reviews, TV reviews, unboxings, giveaways, and all the fun things we do on this very channel. And if and when you've seen this film, Just Mercy, I want to know your thoughts in the comments. Did you enjoy the film? Did you enjoy the performances? And just let me know your overall thoughts on the movie, and let's have some fun discussions down there. So, non-spoiler thoughts here, starting off with the positives. I walked out of this film immediately just thinking about the performances. Starting off with our leading characters, Michael B. Jordan, who since 2001, I want to say, when I first saw him in Hardball and seeing him in The Wire, and then obviously seeing his career grow from playing, the character he played in Chronicle, and then seeing him in Creed, and seeing him in Black Panther. He's really coming to his own as an actor, and I think he's one of the best actors working today, and this is another great performance to put in his resume. Him playing this real-life superhero in Bryan Stevenson, who's a very interesting gentleman from the line of work that he's in, and the relentlessness of this trying to help people out who are on death row, who are sometimes wrongfully accused for doing things that they didn't do, especially things like murder cases. So I think that the story of Bryan Stevenson is something I wasn't too familiar with, but by the end of this film, I applaud him for the work that he's done, the work that he has done, and the work that he will continue to do, because it is such a fascinating thing that he helps people out that are wrongfully accused in the justice system. It's ridiculous how this film, we're only, honestly about 20, 25, 30 years removed from this particular incident, but it's continuing to happen in today's climate. And, unfortunately, things, unless we continue to get movies like this, we won't have any much change. But in going back to Michael B. Jordan, again, I thought he was phenomenal in this movie, as well as the other lead, Jamie Foxx, who, honestly, this is probably my favorite performance by him since 2012's Django. I liked him in, Baby Driver, but, I haven't seen him in a more serious role like that since 2012. And I sometimes, I personally, I don't know if this is the same for you all, sometimes I forget how great of an actor Jamie Foxx is. You think of Ray, you think of Collateral, and all the other movies he's been in. I mean, the man's won an Oscar, and this is another, a great performance. This is, again, one of my favorite performances of his in the last 8 years, and I think that, the buzz of him potentially being nominated, I think is very true, because the performance of him playing this character that's wrongfully accused in Walter, just the subtleness of the character and kind of the quieter moments, and then some of the moments where he has to express certain emotions, I thought that Jamie Foxx did a phenomenal job, as well as a lot of the supporting characters in this movie, starting with Brie Larson, who I think is one of the best actresses in Hollywood. She's worked with Daniel before in Short Term 12, and it just kind of shows the range of Brie Larson. She doesn't always have to be a starring woman. She could be in a movie like Just Mercy and have a supporting character, and you still get a lot from that character, and I really enjoyed her role in this movie. But it was also the other supporting characters, such as, what we get from Tim Blake Nelson, who I loved in Watchmen, and just love his career in general, but I really enjoyed his performance. O'Shea Jackson Jr. is really becoming a great actor in his own right, and every time I see him in films, he just seems to get better and better and better. But honestly, if I'm being honest with you guys, the person that I really was blown away with from the performance, as well as just the character in general, was Rob Morgan playing Herbert. I teared up. I'm not going to give away what Herbert played, what his role was in this movie, but it was very emotional, and I was really taken away by his performance in this film. Again, everyone in this movie was great, but I was really very invested in Herbert's story, and the performance by Rob Morgan is just phenomenal. And again, it just is a great cast all together, and everyone brought their A game. Going on to the directing of this film, again, Daniel is someone I've been keeping an eye out for since Short Term 12. Haven't seen his other film that came out a couple years ago, but I'm very excited to see him get a bigger budget film in a couple years in the MCU and continue to see his career grow, because I think he's a really great director. He writes a lot of his own scripts, and this is another notch under his belt to show you the capabilities of him as a director. I thought he did a really solid job across the board. If I were to point out any negatives or cons or criticisms about this film, I really personally would have liked to have dove deeper into Bryan's character a little bit more, his family, his dynamic, and his upbringing a little bit more. This is something I would have wanted a little bit more backstory with that character, even though, again, he was a great guy. And we saw some of his family elements at the beginning of the film, and you kind of saw who he was as a person, but I would have liked to got a little bit more backstory from that character. And then at times, this is a court drama and we've seen, a lot of court dramas, and at times this movie had some familiar beats with other things that I've seen with similar subject matters. So, it was predictable at times. But besides those two things, overall thoughts here, I was really moved by this film. It's movies and stories like this and Black Klansman and The Hate You Give and a show like When They See Us that came out last year. It's things like this that make us realize the injustice that's out there. I don't want to get too political in this review here, but again, this took place in the 90s, early 90s, and we're still having these things go on in today's society with how the justice system handles minorities, how there's a lot of people in prison now that are wrongfully accused of doing things, of murder or anything of that nature that leaves them in jail for years and years and years, 20, 30 plus years for innocent people. So it's movies like this that move me personally, and I think we need more stories like this, and I thought this was a really well done movie, really well done script with great performances across the board. And with that being said, I'm going to give this film a solid 4 out of 5. The hype is real from the performances. Again, don't want to take too much away from a Michael B. Jordan, from a Jamie Foxx, but it was really those supporting characters like a Brie Larson, a Rob Marshall, a Tim Blake, that I really was very surprised by those characters. And again, when you take that into account with the main cast, it's just across the board a really good movie, and I highly recommend you all checking out when you get the chance. So that's my thoughts on Just Mercy. Highly recommended. Great performances, and I won't be surprised if I hear Jamie Foxx or Michael B. Jordan or even a Rob Marshall get nominated for their performances in this movie, because it was just that great in my opinion. So, and that's just what this review is, my opinion, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you plan on seeing this film, or if you saw the movie, let me know what you thought of it. Like and share this video. Keep an eye out for some content I have coming pretty soon, such as my top 10 movies of 2019. I'm getting my list together. I'm almost there. I also have my top 10 most anticipated movies coming out in 2020, as well as my top 10 shows of 2019. But as of right now, you can check out some videos on my channel, such as my top 10 horror films of the decade, top 10 comic book movies of the decade, and also some TV and movie reviews I have on my channel right now that you all can check out. So thank you all for watching this review. Follow me on all my social media accounts. Keep an eye out for those videos I just mentioned. Thank you all again for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.